So today we're going to talk through the Macbeth Act 4 TRIAC prompts.
So the first one says, compare Macbeth's attitude toward murdering Duncan with his attitude toward murdering Macduff and his family. Include at least one quote from Macbeth to support your answer, right? So this one is totally different, right? So if you think about how he approached murdering Duncan, he has like 2 or 3 soliloquies where he's like, should I, shouldn't I? I don't know. He really hesitates to do this. It takes like a visual dagger. It takes a hallucination to motivate him to actually go and kill Duncan.
And a lot of pushing from his wife.
Terrible. Sorry?
And a lot of pushing from his wife.
And a lot of pushing from his wife and a promise from the witches, right? He has to have just about every box checked off in order to do this. Now, his approach to killing Macduff and his family, all of a sudden, he's like, nope, I'm going to think about it and I'm going to do it. There is no more planning involved. He has no remorse whatsoever. And so this reminds me a lot of like Act 1, where Lady Macbeth says, fill me to the toe top with cruelty, stop the blood in my veins so that I don't feel anything, any remorse. And so essentially, Macbeth has been filled by all the dark spirits at this point and has no remorse for killing Macduff or his family. And so it's a very different experience from when he was killing Duncan. So if I were going to write this paragraph, I'd actually include 2 quotations. I'd go back and I'd find one from the should I or shouldn't I kill him speech, where it says, no, I shouldn't. The only reason that I want to is for my own ambition, and that's not good enough. Whereas with the Macduff and his family quote, there's that great line that says, you know what, I'm not even going to think about it anymore. As soon as I want to do something, I'm going to go ahead and do
And
it.
so, I think that one of the areas to like really focus on is the change for me. She mentioned this a little bit. The change for me is that he gets instantly angry when he finds out that Macduff has essentially disobeyed him, if you will, and didn't come to him and fled to England. And so he's like, you know what, from now on, I'm just going to do whatever I want, whenever I want to do it. And then he makes the decision to just brutally murder everyone, So not only did he have all of that back and forth about Duncan, it was just killing really one person. And then in a heat of passion, and, to cover his butt, he did kill the 3 guards. But now he's gone, spontaneously almost to this castle, killed the wife, which is a woman, which is like not okay. We don't kill women. Killed the child, which I don't need to tell you about that, right? And then also just killed every single person that happened to be working in the castle, So just like wrong place, wrong time, essentially. He had no quarrel with them, except for that they were just associated with Macduff and they happened to be in his castle. So I think that is a really cavalier attitude toward murder. He had a very challenging time. And after he murdered Macduff, he started to have a lot of disturbances. He thought he couldn't pray. He thought he couldn't sleep. Like he was very upset for quite a while after he murdered Duncan. But after Macduff, we don't hear anything. He's just like, kill them all. Let's fight. So I think that, whenever you see compare, I think that's kind of a signal word that tells you that that's a good opportunity to use 2 quotations. I think we talked about that last time. But yeah, I think looking back into Act 1 would be a great place to find a quotation about how his mixed emotions. Or you could use Lady Macbeth's soliloquy, but you could also find a place, where he just feels very unsure. You could look back on the place where he says, I should protect Duncan. I shouldn't do this. I'm his kinsman, things like that. You could also use that section because he clearly has no second feelings like that about Macduff. So the second prompt says, Macbeth has interpreted the witch's prophecies, meaning that he cannot be harmed. And so the witches actually had apparitions who then made prophecies. So they were not directly the witch's prophecies, but these are the 3 ghosts that he saw: the armed head, the bloody child, and the child with the crown in the tree. That's what we're talking about here. So therefore, the murders he's planning seem completely unnecessary. If nobody can hurt him and he's untouchable, what's he doing? So why do you think Macbeth wants to murder more people who do not pose a threat to his life? That's the discussion question. So, one of the things that comes to mind for me, Miss Howard and I had talked about this, is, maybe earlier on in this, he says they're just beginners in this act of murder. They haven't really got their feet wet yet. They're not experienced with this. Like, let's go to sleep. We'll talk about it in the morning. Maybe when we're better at this. We're just beginners. And now I think that he has definitely evolved past that beginner phase of murdering, and maybe he just feels like he can't stop once he started.
Yeah, the bad things lead to more bad things. That idea that karma is going to come back around, and also, like, he's not thinking anymore. Right? To say nobody can hurt him, therefore he shouldn't hurt anybody else, would take a logical progression. He is so angry, and he is just feeling. He's just giving orders left and right. And so he is not rational by any stretch of the imagination. And so if he's angry, he's just going to kill. And I'm not going to kill the person I'm angry about because I can't reach him. But man, I'm going to wipe out his entire city.
And he mentioned in the last act that he's the only one he's concerned about now. He's not even necessarily worried about his own people or his own wife. Scotland is in ruins. He himself and him, like, he's only worried about Macbeth. And so even though he's mostly seems to trust the witches and their prophecies, I think that he still kind of has this like underlying urge to be 100% sure that no one can mess with him.
Yep.
All right. So remember, when you do these, we want, 6 to 8 sentences, and you need to include all components. You do have to have a quotation. Your quotation needs to be correctly cited, act, scene, line number, parentheses on each side. Okay?
Yes.
All right. We look forward to seeing this.